Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. It is, for me, Monday. I feel like it's a great Monday. I woke up this morning and I was tired. And I woke up, and I like to do yoga in the mornings now. It fluctuates so much, but I like to do it in the mornings. And I got up this morning and I was like, I don't want to work out, but I made myself, and I'm glad I did. I did an easier yoga flow, still difficult, but it was easier than the normal one I do. Got through it, and I felt so great afterwards. I hate working out, but I always feel great afterwards, so that's always my motivation. And it's great. It's great. You know, it is a medication that's not prescribed. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you go to the doctor and they're like, you need to exercise. I feel like most doctors, I feel like you can find a doctor that would say anything. You can find, a doctor that says exercise isn't good. But that's not the general consensus. Exercise is amazing. I used to have a reminder on my phone, now it's just workout, but the reminder used to be workout as medicine. It's medication itself, just the endorphins going, you feel better, you start your day off right. Like, I already tackled that. I can do anything else. No matter how stressful your day is. And I had a stressful week last week, a very stressful week of work. And, I was like, I'm going to start my week off right. We're going to work out. We're going to tackle and seize the day. I was thinking over the weekend, there was I forget whose profile is, I took it down by now, but it was, I don't know, maybe within the last 6 months, probably longer than that, I don't know. Time just flies by. But it was I'm sure like a ton of people have seen it, but it was on TikTok, where there was a wife and a husband. I'm sorry, I just got a message for work that I was reading. There was a wife and a husband, and they had too many kids. And one, I think, is too many, but they had more than one. And they had a nanny, a young, good-looking nanny. And the first video, I think this is the first video that the nanny was in. But the husband gets home from work, and I don't know how this dancing started, but they were dancing, or the music playing, I don't know. A dance started happening. The wife is in the kitchen filming the whole fucking thing. All right, she thinks this is okay. And the husband and the nanny are jokingly dancing. Going through the comments, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. I was like, that? Okay. Like, that's more than a dance. Like, they were getting handsy. Like, he was like fucking picking her up, grabbing her by her hips, touched her tits, touched her ass. I'm just like, what the fuck? And the wife I'm like, she seemed to be okay with it. She's filming this whole thing, laughing, like, oh my God, this is so great. I'm like, either you're totally oblivious, or there's some kind of fucking group thing going on here. Whatever. I don't judge. I don't kink shame, but I'm like, and like, it was. And the kids are there. I'm like, this is highly inappropriate. I'm like, fuck. And everybody was commenting, like, they're fucking, right? Or you all are fucking, they're fucking, you're oblivious. Like, everybody saw it. Except the wife. The wife said that she made a video, I think the next day or a few days later or whatever, and it was with the nanny. They were sitting there together making a video, and they were like, "Oh my God, ha ha ha!" They're like, he's older and she's really young, legal age. It doesn't stop some people. And Prince Andrew. And, they're just, laughing like, oh my gosh, they're not, hooking up, or, there's nothing in kind of that realm. And I'm like, there is no fucking way that you think that isn't real. You can't. How? You're fucking watching it. I swear. It's like, to me, they all know and they're okay with it in some way. Whether they're all involved at the same time, whether they're just swipping and swapping and switching around, I don't fucking know. But I'm like, that is not. I'm looking at that and I'm uncomfortable. Like, you got the kids, you got the wife filming it. I'm like, what else is she filming? Jesus fuck! Like, we're putting this on the internet. I want to see what else we got on that phone. Come on. But I thought that was hilarious, and like, there is I don't know, but I know that dance. If you're doing that in front of your wife, imagine what's going on behind the doors. If you haven't seen it, just search on TikTok. Just go in the fucking search bar and say, husband dances with nanny. And you see a young hot nanny and the guy, and then the wife film. You got the video. It'll probably be the first one that fucking pops up. Highly inappropriate. I cannot believe it. I was watching that. I was like, this has to be staged in some way. In some way. Like, they were like, oh, let's do this, for the clicks and for the people to like just start talking about it, and then people will come to our channel and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. But if she is that oblivious, I don't think anybody deserves to be cheated on, ever. But, if she's that oblivious that is happening in front of her, then she's filming it and laughing and like, oh my God, there's no way that they would ever do that. And then the nanny in that next video, when the wife is talking about it, like, oh my God, everybody's freaking out. And the nanny's there like, oh yeah, we're good friends, me and the wife. We're good friends. I would never, do that to her. Girl, I can look in your eyes and tell you lying. You're lying. I'll come out in divorce court in a few years. But I don't know. And you can't believe anything that's on the internet, I mean, the wife could have been the grandma, and the nanny could have been it could have been anything. I think that it's a live-in nanny, and there's only one bed. That's my hypothesis. But very interesting. Here's me talking. Very interesting. Very, very, very. There's just no way. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, 2 seconds in, I'm like, they're fucking. You can tell how handsy they are, right? They're grabbing asses and tits. I'm like, man, they are more than boss and nanny. Let me tell you. Some people fuck their bosses. That leads me to my next thing. I've never fucked a boss. I've wanted to. Trust me. And I think, I think there were times that I've wanted, there are definitely plenty of times that I'm like, hell no, I don't care how big a raise you're going to give me. Hell to the nah. But there have been plenty of times. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. So far, I'm young, I'm 27, but I've had a ton of jobs, and there's been a few bosses, quite a few, handful, I don't know, that I would be like, yeah, we could fuck. Can't go into which jobs, current, former, can't, but not even just for, sometimes it was just to say, fuck my boss. Other times I'm like, I really find you attractive. It's a crazy world we live in. It's a crazy world. That's the thing. Like, everybody thinks, a lot of people think, not everybody, a lot of people think that, dating or, hooking up in the workplace is such a bad thing. I don't think that's the case. I think maybe, I don't know. I think it's okay. I don't see an issue with, hooking up, dating, whether you're a coworker, whether you're a boss. You'll be have to draw those lines. And I think that is where a lot of people go wrong. They don't draw the lines. But you have to draw the lines, right? Boss, subordinate, coworkers, whatever the fuck you are. You have to draw the lines. Like, this is work, or especially boss and subordinate, right? I'm your boss. We might be fucking, but you don't get special treatment. You get the treatment that everybody else gets, except a little more outside of work. Maybe sometimes in work. I don't know. But, out of work, you get a little more one-on-one time, unless you're the nanny and the husband and the wife, kind of split your fucking time between the three. But if you're having a one-on-one relationship, I think it's okay. That's probably why I'm not in HR, though, too. But I can see where it could cause a lot of issues. But I think you have to go in there clear, to begin with, before anything happens. So, this is, whether it's successful or whether we're just fucking around or whatever, you all have to be on the same page, right? We're not going to talk about it at work. We're not going to act like it at work. Nobody's going to suspect a motherfucking thing, right? No. But I think you have to draw those lines. You have to be clear of this is okay, but that's not, right? Don't bring the nanny on into this, right? But I've had some office relationships. I think where it goes too far. There was one time, I always take the stairs, I never take the elevator, but a lot of people took the elevator at this particular workplace and looked like it. And not in a mean way, but some people need to take the stairs. But I was taking the stairs one day, and these two people, co-workers, making out. They were making out. I mean, they were just fucking into it. Not fucking, but they were really into it. And I interrupted it by taking the stairs and being a healthy human being. And I felt bad. I was like, oh man, now I'm worried, as a fellow coworker. One, I wouldn't have, wouldn't have minded to be involved with the gal, not the guy. Nothing wrong with it, just not my thing. But I'm worried. I felt bad because I interrupted their makeout session, and I think they ended it, and they were, they went and did whatever else they did. But then I'm like, well, what if they're worried that, I might talk about it to other people and say, no. Depending on who it was, I think it's fine to talk to it with your friends and whatnot, but, blabbing it to the wrong people or widely, I don't think I actually ended up telling anybody. This is they do they, right? Do you, boo? I don't care. I'm all for it. This is my doggo. I don't know if you can see her. Her name is Ruth. She goes by Rufus as a toothuses. Rufus. There's one time we were at I always call her Rufus, and we were at the dog park one day, and this guy, his dog's actual name was Rufus, and he was trying to call his dog over, and Ruth is like, oh yeah, you want me? I'm like, no, his dog's name is Rufus. You're She goes by a lot of names. Ruthie Toothy. Rufus is a toothuses. Roofy Toofy. And she goes by a lot. If she's in trouble, it's Ruth Ann. My cat, her name is Bella. Bella Della. If she's in trouble, it's Bella Eugene when she's in trouble. Where's your sister? Where's Bella? She's my dog is part. What are you? Border Collie, German Shepherd. So she's always trying to herd my cat around. No bite. Good girl. No bite. She's a good doggos. She is. You turned 3 this year, right? It's hard to keep track of them. I only have 2 kids too. At one time, I was talking to a customer on the phone, like a year or so back or whatever, and it was getting towards the end of the day. It was like 5:30 or something, and he's like, "Well, I probably should let you go." You know, he's like, "Oh, you probably got kids to go home to." He didn't even know I worked from home, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And he's like, "How many kids you have?" And I was like, "Well, I'm in on this already." I kept going with it. I have 2 little ones. He's like, "Oh, cool. How old?" And then at the time she was 2, the other one was 4. Yeah, 2 and 4. And he's like, "Oh, they're so good at that." I'm like, "Yeah, they are." But I went too far into that. I could not have, at that point, have told him that I only have a cat and a dog, and I don't have actual human kids. Not that it matters. I think they're kids just as normal. I mean, they act like children. They make messes, shed like bats. I mean, it's crazy. So that man, if he's still alive, may rest his soul, thinks that I have 2 human children. He probably doesn't think about it, but I do. Oh, man. It's only 8:20 right now. We're about, I don't know how, 15 minutes into this. I don't know. I didn't smoke today. I think that's usually my secret recipe is smoking marijuana before my podcasts. I'm more talkative. I'm more relaxed. Not like that I'm not relaxed right now, but I'm more relaxed and things just blah, blah, blah. What else we got? I mean, I got a lot of stuff written down here. I don't want you to see inside of my notebook. It is, that's not going to be funny. We talked about that one. Talked about that. Talked about that last week. Talked about that. Talked about that. Talked about that. I think I talked about that. Yeah. Old people senile and leany. So my last position, so back in April, which is my birthday month, towards the end of April, I started a new position at my job. And before that, I was part of our claims team. And every, 2-3 months or so, we would switch off. So everybody's always on call, at some point. You have 4, 7. So it's a week. Total is a week, like every 3 months, I think, that you do on call. So it's from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then during the workday, because that team is from 8 to 6. So you're not going to get any after hours call from 8 to 6, and you really don't get anything from 7 to 8. And what was I saying? Not even highlighted, I just lost my place. But yeah, and then during the work week, you go through until, from 6 to 11. And then if you're doing it on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, it's the whole fucking day, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. I did that a few times, and I was like, I have to go. I hated that. I'm like, when I am off of work, I want to be off work. Like, I don't want after hours calls. I am off work. Like, yeah, we got paid for it, sure. But no, I'm not a fan. I was not a fan. And the last time that I did on call, it was February. And I was like, I cannot do this again. I fucking have to go. So then I applied for my current position, which I really love. And I got the job a couple months later. And here we are. But that was my main motivation. It was the fucking worst. It is the worst because you get calls at 10:30 at night. Somebody's water heater goes out. At 10 at night, maybe like 7 or 8, you can get somebody out there. 9, 10, 10:45. You're not going to be able to find, contractor, because we do home warranties, or they did home warranty stuff. So, your utility lines inside and outside the house, HVAC system, whatever. But I don't care what the fuck the issue is. At 10:30, you're not getting anybody out. And you're wasting your time on a phone call. And then on the weekends, when you're on call on the weekends, you get a lot of calls, typically early in the morning. Start right away. I'm like, I cannot do this. Like, you want to enjoy your time off, right? You've already worked 40 hours. Now you're working. There was one weekend that I was working after hours, and it was a full 8 hours that I worked over 3 days of that fucking weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I worked a total of 8 hours. It's a whole other work day. I'm like, I can't. I just can't. Like, I love what we do. I love our company. Love the people I work with, majority of them. But I'm not a take your work home type of guy. I work from home. But you will not find me after work hours working. Negative. That's why I don't think that I would ever want I don't know, I go back and forth of would I want a leadership position? And I always go back to, no. That's usually my end thing. I'm like, you get different title or whatever, but I'm like, I don't think that I want that for many reasons. One, once you're leadership and you make salary, you're working well over 40 hours, right? And, you get a bump in pay for that, but depending on how much you work, it may not be worth it. So that's one, right? When I'm off work, I don't want to be contacted. Right? I don't care what the fuck is going on. I don't want to be contacted. Right? So there's a negative. The other one is I don't want to be responsible for other people. Right? I'm an adult. I take responsibility for myself. I know what I need to do, what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. And if I don't know, if I have questions, I will reach out to whoever I need to reach out to figure it out. But I know what my job is, what's expected of me, and I do that. I guarantee some people aren't like that. And, I don't want to be, I have to sit down in a meeting with my boss and be like, well, hey, Cullen, Billy Joel over here keeps fucking this thing up. Why does he keep doing that? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I talked to him about it and I said, you're a fuck up. Don't do it that way. Do it this way, shithead. And they keep doing it the wrong way. What the fuck do you want me to do? Hold their hand? I got other shit. I don't want to be responsible for other people. I don't. I feel like that's a headache in itself, right? I try, my boss now, she recently got promoted to her current position, my direct supervisor. And before she got promoted, I was always reaching out to her about different stuff because my supervisor at the time, I knew she had a lot to do. And I know, my current boss had a lot to do in her previous position as well, but she had a little more time. But now that she's been promoted, I try and reach out to her as little as possible, unless she needs to be directly involved or if she's the only one available or whatever. But I like to try and, just because I know she has a ton of shit coming her way. I don't want to add to that, right? I feel bad if I do. So I reach out to everybody else. And, but I just don't want to be responsible for other people, right? I have a sit down with my boss and she's like, well, Billy Joel over here, why does he, have you talked to him? What did you say? What did he say? Did you set up kind of a plan, or additional training if it's needed. Or I'm like, I got fucking time for that. I got fucking time for that. Like, I enjoy working with people. I do. I just don't want to be responsible for them. I've worked with some people where I'm like, I don't want to answer for you, right? You answer for yourself. I don't want to answer for you. So I think that's another big thing. Like, I could get over working a little bit outside work hours, but I could not get over answering for other people. And I like to think as a whole, our team is very, can't think of the word, but I feel like we work well together. We know what's expected. We all do what is expected. So it's not like an issue, too big of an issue at least, that as far as I know. But I just don't want to be responsible for other people. I used to work at a daycare. I think I told that story. But so I think those are the two biggest. I don't want to be responsible for other people, and I really don't want to work outside work hours. But I think those would be like the main reasons that I would not want like a leadership position. And that's why there's other positions within companies where, you can get the extra pay and you can do the things and you don't have the title, but a lot of people look at leadership roles as, the next step of, you've been here or you've done this X amount of time. Have you ever thought about leadership? No, there's other avenues. There is other avenues. Like, no, I don't want to do my current position for a long time. I enjoy what I do, but I don't want to do it for a long time. I want to move. I like the team that I'm on, so I wouldn't necessarily want to go to another team, but I would want to gain knowledge in other areas and do different things within our team without a leadership role. I don't want it. Right? Because then somebody doesn't know something and then they look to you. That's one of the messages I was received from my boss. I was like, I had no fucking idea. I'm like, this is the information that I have. I don't know the next steps because it's a potential refund for a customer. And then she's like, well, I'm stuck too, but her stuckness, she has to reach out and get an answer because I did. And you it. So, yeah. And I don't think that that's like too big of a downside of people, they don't know the answer. They look to you to know the answer. You're not going to know everything. Nobody can know everything. Especially in our business, nobody can know everything. But we utilize each other, and I think that's what the good thing is. Because sometimes, they'll be like, "We have no fucking idea. Go talk to X person or X people in X department." I'm like, cool, right? You know kind of where to go. I don't know, but I struggle with that. I always think, like some days I want to be in leadership, other days I don't. But what gets me is the being responsible. I just don't like to be responsible for other people. Because I remember when I was growing up, thank God I grew out of it, but I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be an American cop and do good for the world. Jesus fucking Christ. I grew out of that. But even if I did, I thought about that recently. Like, even if I don't think I would be, if I did become a cop, I don't think I would be a cop right now. I would be too lenient. I would be too lenient. Yeah, as long as you're not, if you're not shooting somebody as a cop, you're too lenient. That's probably what their fucking motto is. Top of the door when they walk out. They slap that, like a fucking football team, like, oh, yeah, let's go get them. If you're not shooting them, you're too lenient. That's probably their fucking motto, probably tattooed across their chest or fucking tramp stamp. But, like, minor traffic shit. I got pulled over a couple years ago for 2 different times for a license plate light that was out. A license plate light. The fuck? The fuck? I got pulled over twice. The first time I was like, okay, I ain't got nothing in the car, I'm fine. The second time, I can probably talk about this. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but fucking might screw me over later. Who cares? But the second time, I was a little bit nervous. It was at night. It was almost midnight. And I got pulled over. And I think I was being targeted. Because the cop, he was fucking in a parking lot. And he pulled out before I even fucking passed him. License plate light's in the back. So he didn't see it until after he pulled out. And he was pulling out after me. I'm the only one. It's almost fucking midnight. I'm the only one on this street. And he pulls me over. And I'm a little bit nervous. I was committing a felony. Which I used to do all the time, actually. But I had a gun in the car. And it was in my glove box. And I was like, fuck. I didn't have a license or anything. And thank God I'm white. Jesus fuck. He's like, oh, I pulled you over because your license plate light is out. And I'm not sure your license and stuff, whatever. Jesus Christ, my license plate light's fucking out. So I replaced it after that, but I was scared to fucking hell. So, but we got out of that. Never got a ticket. The first time I got pulled over for it, that one was kind of my fault. I was in a hurry. I don't know what I was in a hurry for. Didn't have a gun, but I was driving fast. I was driving fast. But they didn't pull me over for the speed because they didn't clock my speed. They just noticed that I was speeding. And then they noticed that my license plate was out. Light was out. But that's bullshit. Like, to me, that's a bullshit traffic stop. Like, you're going to pull somebody over because their license plate light is out, right? The only reason, because I didn't get tickets either time. So the only reason I was getting pulled over was to get more information, right? To get my information was did I have fucking warrant? Did I have drugs in the car that they could smell? Which I didn't smoke weed at the time, but my girlfriend at the time, her roommates did. They smoked a fucking shit ton of weed. I'm like, where the fuck? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, they outsmoke Snoop Dogg. They fucking just nonstop. If they're breathing in, they are breathing in marijuana. I'm like, Jesus fuck. They smoked a shit ton. I'm like, I couldn't imagine smoking that much. Not even just the money aspect, but Jesus fuck, you're high as fuck all the time. It's crazy. But they smoked a shit ton. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, you get just fucking, they get one fucking whiff, you're fucking done. So, but they're just looking for anything. And I think that's bullshit. But that's the good thing. There are a lot of cities and towns and municipalities that have, since a lot of the shooting deaths from cops, especially from the African American community, which is typically how that works, because systemic racism is a thing, unfortunately. And but a lot of municipalities and counties and cities, and they're starting to not allow traffic stops for minor violations. Tail light out, headlight out, license plate light out, and that's a good thing. It's a good step forward, and it's a great thing, because if you look at a lot of the deaths at the hands of the cops, a lot of the times it starts out with a minor traffic stop, right? Oh, your headlight's out, right? Like, the only reason, right? Because they don't plan, typically, they don't plan to write a ticket. The bigger cities definitely not going to be writing a ticket, but the smaller cities maybe. But typically, they're not going to be writing you a ticket for that. And they know that prior to stopping you. But the only reason that they stop you is because they're trained to do it. because now they can get your information, right? Now they can run you. They can do, I mean, there is so many things that they can fucking stop you for. I mean, you have anything hanging from your rearview mirror, that's all they need. And that's fucking bullshit, because that's how they target people. Because they don't know. But they don't know. I don't know what I was saying there. But they know what they're doing, right? I remember watching Cops growing up. And there was an innumerable amount of times where the cops were following these people, and it would typically go two different ways. They would be like, oh, we're following this car. They came out of a known drug area. A known drug area. What the fuck? Define a known drug area, right? I mean, I smoke marijuana in my apartment. Does that make this a known drug area if they know that I smoke weed here? I mean, come the fuck on. A known drug area. Or the other ones that they did were, these people are up to no good, or, they don't belong over here. And I've heard that so many times growing up watching Cops, where, these people don't belong over here. We're going to follow. They would admittedly say, we are going to follow them, waiting for them to make a mistake, a traffic violation, so we can stop them. There was one episode that I watched where a guy was, or girl, I don't fucking know, but where they were being followed by the cops. The cops were just waiting for fucking anything to pull them over. And then they ended up stopping them for they signaled, but they did not signal 200 feet before their turn. Which I'm like, easily beatable in court, right? You fucking take them to court. How many feet was I from making that turn? You can't calculate it. You can't prove it. It's going to be thrown out. But they don't care about that, right? Because they're allowed to stop them for that. It may not hold up in court, but they are allowed, unfortunately, to stop people for that. And that's not they don't care. They don't care. The only thing they care about is they were following that person to get more information of, who are you, and then, once you're pulled over, they're going to be like, oh, what do you, I was, white in a fucking white town. So they weren't like, where are you going? Where are you coming from? I wasn't going to answer it anyway, but they didn't ask. But they'll typically ask, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Where, how long have you been driving? Or, you don't need to know that. Fuck you, right? I'm coming from none of your business, right? There's a guy, Pop Brothers at Law on TikTok. It's a lawyer and his brother out of Nevada, where they're lawyers and they help people in that case in different cases, and and they always, their saying is shut the fuck up when cops ask questions. And it's something that I think everybody should be taught from day one in school, is when the cops ask questions, shut the fuck up. I mean, just shut the fuck up, because there's nothing good. Not a goddamn thing of good will happen if you're talking to the cops. Not a goddamn thing, right? You get pulled over, right? And they always talk about it. Like, you don't have to be rude of like, shut the fuck up, don't ask me questions, you stupid motherfucker. Well, they don't advocate for that. They're just like, you respectfully saying, I'm not going to talk about my day, sir. We're not going to discuss what my day was and stuff like that. Especially because they do a lot of stuff with marijuana charges and stuff. So just, when was the last time you smoked? Even if you have a medical card, you can get fucked over. Don't answer the fucking questions, right? They pull you out of the car wanting you to do field sobriety tests. Fuck no, right? Because if they think that you're high on weed or whatever, there's no fucking, maybe there's blood. I don't know. But, those, the tests that they do on the side of the road to see if you are impaired, you're going to fail all day, every day. All day, every day, you're going to fail. They're made for you to fail. They are not for your benefit. Depending on what state you're in, Ohio, you don't have to do those. Now, if you don't have to do that, but if they arrest you, then you have to submit to a blood or alcohol test, or you can lose your license. Unfortunately, but you have those options. But you have the option not to do the roadside tests, and it would be in your best interest not to do it. Not to do it. I've seen, and sometimes it's tough because you get, you're in a bad situation. You're drunk. You're inebriated in some sense. Kind of lose some of your mental faculties. So I've seen countless amount of body cams where cops are pulling over other cops that are off duty. They're fucking drunk off their ass and submit to field sobriety tests because they're drunk off their ass. If they were sober, they'd be like, fuck, no, that's against me, no. But they're drunk. Even the cops are out there drunk. Just like, oh yeah, I'll do that, standing on one foot. Fucking idiots. How did we get on this tangent? I'm ready for the day. I'm not ready for the day to be over. I'm just ready to relax. I'm not feeling it. It'll be better next week. I mean, hopefully you guys still enjoyed it. I mean, if you enjoyed it, or if you didn't enjoy it, if you kind of enjoyed it, if your grandma enjoyed it, bring Granny on in, dance with her, grab her ass. Anyway, leave a review. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you're on YouTube. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandmas, your aunts, your uncles, cousins, family members, non-family members, friends. I mean, you can tell anybody. Strangers. I mean, if you're going through the food line at like McDonald's or something, little drive-through. You're like, hey, listen to this podcast. And they're like, oh my God, I've been looking for a podcast. You never know. You never know. But again, every week, every Wednesday morning, around 8, podcast goes up. Video and audio, same time. YouTube and anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Let me know what you think. If you want to see what I look like, you can come to YouTube. If you're like, man, I already hear the guy's voice, I don't want to see what he looks like, I don't blame you. You can just listen to the audio version, or not a sponsor, should be. If you pay for YouTube Premium, you can press play, put me in the background, you can listen, do whatever else you want to do, and you can still listen. It's a great thing. YouTube Premium. $11.99, I think, a little over $12 with tax. Fuck taxes. Anyway, we can go on another tangent about that. Fuck taxes, fuck the government. Anyway, enjoy your day, your morning, your afternoon, your evening, your night, whatever time it is, whatever day it is that you're listening or watching. We'll see and talk to you guys next week.